roofing company casts new roof. It's super effective.
What? What's up, Internet? Brian and Colby here. Jeff is missing in action, helping a buddy move, so it's just going to be the two of us today.
That's what he gets for owning a truck. Jeff has a truck, I assume.
He does.
Yeah,
if you're helping a friend move, you basically own a truck. Like, it's one of the requirements.
Yeah, so I'll never own one. Yeah, it's been a good week, you know. Got a lot of stuff done at work. Really looking forward to a 3-day weekend. You know, just I have a little bit of a story about the roof trouble that we've been having. I know I've kind of talked about it in the last few podcasts. Inexplicably, there's a roof on my house. Just like appeared. It was really strange. Janina and I were both like at work or getting ready for work. I was already at work. Janina was basically on the way out to go to work. And we get a knock at the door, and they're here to put our new roof on without any kind of communication or call or anything.
Notice.
So, yeah. I mean, whatever. It's done. It looks really good. It's the weirdest thing, dude. Like, I don't understand why this is such a big like hassle, but the insurance company endorsed or addressed the check to me, my wife, the mortgage company, and the roofing company. So 4 entities have to endorse the check in order for us to deposit it, so we can then take it, write another check to the roofing company and pay them with it. So we had to mail it like overnight to our mortgage company so they could sign it and mail it back to us. And it's just like, it's insane. Like, that makes no sense. When you wreck your car or have to do any work, it's just between you, the insurance company, and the company that's doing the work. If you're financing your car, the company that's financing is not even involved, right? Like, they don't, I mean,
yeah.
It's so why is the mortgage company involved when I don't understand why.
That doesn't make any sense.
No,
that's not how my insurance is working right now. With my claim.
I don't get it. I know you're kind of dealing with your own stuff with that. Has that gotten any better for you?
Yeah, I finally got the first draft of a real estimate yesterday. There's a couple mistakes in it, some things that needed to be removed, and I think one thing that needed to be added. But the estimate's a little higher than I thought it was going to be, but
it
it'll
always
come
is
down a little bit with some of the things. But yeah, there's just stuff in there that I didn't expect them to charge for, because we didn't talk about it. Like throughout the estimate, there's because it's broken out by like area of house, so it'll be like a room, and then you might have a dozen line items for things. But for each area of the house, they have a line item for move out and clear room. And so basically that's like move your sofas out of the house, move your tables, chairs, bed, whatever's in their way. And to move out my living room is $1,400. And I don't have a lot of stuff in my living room. I have 2 couches,
a
TV, and a very small entertainment center.
Right. Yeah. I mean, that's that seems excessive.
So yeah. So I was like, I'll move it. So let's not do that. But the estimate ended up being just over $40,000.
Oof.
And the insurance agreed to pay about $31,000. But we did a bunch of upgrades. Like, we're upgrading our floor and getting granite countertops, and
that's cool.
New doors and throughout the house, and
we're gonna need new countertops soon too.
Not a bad price.
Yeah, it's weird. Like,
but it still sucks.
It's weird, you know, when you're like in middle school or high school or whatever. It's like, oh man, I gotta get that new game, that new console, or I gotta get that new car or whatever. Now it's like, oh man, can't wait to get those granite countertops. You know, it's like priorities change and stuff. It's just kind of funny.
We want those new French doors.
Yeah. Yeah, but I've been watching a lot of YouTube videos lately on like home improvement, like building decks and building sheds and stuff. And I'm probably gonna put together like a little platform deck out back, kind of like directly off of our patio, like not real high off the ground, but just something we can like put our grill on and put a little table and like an umbrella and stuff, and just finally be able to use that space, because right now it's covered, so, and it's just concrete and it's just weird, you know. So yeah, we'll see how that goes. The price of wood is ridiculous now. It's like one Bitcoin to buy a freaking 2x4.
Yeah, I would not start that project for a while until the pricing goes back down. Like a sheet of plywood is almost $100 right now.
That's nuts, dude.
So something that might be entertaining. I think you've had this before, the Flying Cauldron butterbeer.
Yeah, so, I have.
Funny story about this particular bottle is I bought this about 4 months ago and never drank it. And I found it yesterday in the trunk of my car.
Gross, dude. Is it still good?
So I haven't drank any yet.
Oh, I see you opened it. Okay. I guess I can tell you didn't.
So I put it in the refrigerator last night to get cold, and I'm kind of afraid, but I also love these things.
Well, if you drop off here, I'll make sure to like call 911 or something.
So I guess we'll take a if you're watching this, bet to yourself if it's gonna be good or not.
If this makes it to YouTube, then you survived, because I'm not gonna like, you know, put a video of you killing yourself on it, you know. So
it still smells good.
What's funny is like it'll take a while. Like you'll be fine tomorrow. We'll upload the video, and then like 2 days from now, you're like, I'm sure it's fine. Normal. But I'm more worried about the like jostling around and stuff, and like being all just weird tasting.
It's not flat or anything.
That's okay. Well, good.
Yeah, I'm surprised. Yeah, I found it in the trunk of my car last night and was like, oh shit, I bought this like half a year ago.
That's funny.
Still good though. But I watched Loki. I know you watched Loki too. So if you're watching this and you haven't watched Loki yet,
go ahead and watch Loki and then come back.
Pause, watch Loki, come back.
Yeah, man, it's it's funny because like I'm such a dork. The minute that, or the second really, that Ravenna or whatever her name is, Gugu and Ross character, when she told Owen Wilson that they had pruned Sylvie, he goes, "What? How?" I was like, okay, well, he can't remember because he's not allowed to say wow, but they threw in something that was close enough, and I was like, okay, that's how they're gonna do that.
Why aren't they allowed to say wow? I guess you did.
So it's not really allowed to. It's just kind of a joke. They there was a meme that, you know, surfaced about like after like episode 2, and people were like, why hasn't he said wow yet? You know, and then like Disney like made like a fake tweet saying like he's not allowed to say wow or something, and it was just like a joke, you know. But because that's like
he probably makes $10 million every time.
Yeah,
he says
that's
wow.
like his thing. Yeah, it's like I'll be back, you know. So it's funny because when there was a little, you know, lead in where she goes and gets Sylvie as a little girl, and then you see a glimpse of the timekeepers, right? You just see their eyes kind of light up, and I'm like, oh wow, like they're a thing, like they exist. I still wasn't really convinced that they were real, you know, at that point. And then near the end of the episode, when they all kind of walk in, I actually looked over at G and I said, pay no attention to that man behind the curtain. Like it was, I mean, serious. It was very Wizard of Oz. The mist and everything, you know. I have so many questions because like I still don't know if, I don't know what her name is. Ravenna, I think is what it is. I still don't know if she truly believes this bullshit or if she's in on it and is trying to keep it a secret. For the longest time, I thought that she was actually in on it and she was trying to keep a lid on it. But if that were the case, why would she take them in there knowing they were fake, knowing that the Lokis would, you know, cause some shit? You know what I mean? So maybe she really believes it. I don't know. What do you think?
She didn't seem all that shocked, I felt like. Right? Because she was there during the beheading.
Right.
And
She didn't react
seem
at all.
surprised at all.
But wasn't her back to it and then got knocked out? So I don't know. I don't know. I'm on the fence.
I'd have to rewatch that again, but you would think like if she saw it and really believed in like in her mind knew they were real,
She
that
would've,
would
like,
have been
freaked
like
out.
her
Yeah.
God being killed in front of her.
Right.
She would have freaked out.
Right. Yeah. I'm sorry. I don't know if you
So
can hear this,
who's
but
pulling the strings though?
I don't know. My wife and my son are watching Frozen 2. I'm not sure if you can hear them singing right now. No. But
Why I turned my
hopefully-
ear to my mic, I'm not sure.
Yeah, I was like, that's not how that works, bro.
I've had half a butterbeer.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Here we go. That was a good one. What was your question? Who's behind the strings? Who's pulling the strings? I mean, it's got to be Kang, right? I mean, it's got to be, unless it's just some, like, unless it's Ravenna herself. Like, remember how in WandaVision everybody was like, oh, it's Mephisto, it's Mephisto's really behind it, and it ended up being Agatha all along, with the joke song and everything. I really hope they don't go that route. I hope that it's like Marvel officially said that Kang is going to be in Ant-Man 3, Quantumania is what it's called. It would not be out of the realm of possibility that place that they're in, the TVA, is that Chronopolis city that we see in the quantum realm in Ant-Man 2. We get a little glimpse of it, So I don't know. What do you think? Is Kang too obvious, or is it could it even be anything else? Or anyone else?
Yeah, I don't have a whole lot of knowledge on Kang really, and like how he behaves in the comics and whatnot, but from what I do know, I'm not sure that he would.
She's his love interest.
Set up.
So
right, but I'm not sure that he would set up like 3 robotic, like timekeeper fake dudes, would he?
I mean, I don't know. It's more of like he can't be there all the time because he's constantly going back and forth between these different, time periods and realities and stuff. So maybe it's kind of like I'm going to put these guys here just to, he's obviously taking people from their real lives and brainwashing them and putting them in there. Maybe he's using the timekeepers as just a way to sort of, keep order, and that kind of thing. I don't know. I just don't want I don't want it to be something stupid like we've seen. This wouldn't really be stupid, but it would be a little on the nose, in the like previews and stuff. We've seen like President Loki, you've seen that, right? And I think that's where they're going with the next couple. There's only 2 episodes left, but I'm saying the next episode we're probably going to see him in that Loki world, wherever the hell they are. We'll get to that in a minute, but I don't want Loki to be the one behind it, or a version of Loki. Like I don't want it to be him. Like that would just be like there'd be no point to that, right? A lot of people think that he is behind it, but I don't know. It's with Thanos, they kind of took their time. They introduced him a little early on and then slowly kind of tried to mold him in and stuff. So I don't think it is too early to introduce Kang, considering that he is going to be the villain of Ant-Man 3, but that's certainly not going to be his last movie. So
yeah, and if you look at the roadmap, like Ant-Man 3 is a lot of movies away from now.
Yeah,
not a long time. I think it's 2022 or 2023, but there's so many movies coming out between now and then.
Yeah. So do you have any theories about who like created the TVA and all that? Unless it's something really dumb where like the timekeepers were real at some point and then they died and then replaced them with like robot replicas. But like, what the hell is the point of that?
Yeah, I don't know. One of the things I'm kind of interested in is how did was it Ravonna?
Yeah, here I'll look it up while you're talking. I think it's
but whatever her name is. She looked like basically a normal timekeeper whenever she went and got Sylvie as a
Ravonna Renslayer. Yeah,
but
she was a hunter at that point, sort of like B-15. And did you notice that her number was A-23 and A is is short for Avengers, I'm assuming. Avengers 23 is the first issue in which she appeared in Marvel Comics. So just a little kind of like wink to the camera there, which I thought was kind of cool.
Fun. But anyways, so she was a regular hunter and she lost this variant that became like the most dangerous variant ever.
Right.
At least that they've talked about. Yet she still got promoted to be head of this organization, which tells me that somehow she did meet Kang and maybe he is in charge and she got promoted anyways.
Yeah. And another thing is like there's clearly like some type of time travel or like the TVA definitely does exist outside of time because Sylvie continued to age. Ravonna didn't. So like I was trying to do the math in my head last night. I was like, if Sylvie had that temp pad, she could just keep going through different time periods and aging, and then maybe she came back to the normal time, and Ravonna hasn't aged because no time has actually passed. But then I was like, I don't think that's how that works, you know?
Yeah, I don't know.
So plus, I mean, they've clearly made the point that the TVA, like, well, they told us at the beginning that these guys are basically ancient. You know, they were created, you know, by the timekeepers and they exist outside of time. But we're now being told that they're regular people that are being kidnapped and stuff. So how long have they been there? Like, how long has this been going on? You know?
So Mobius, I have a feeling that he was like a jet ski salesman in the 80s or something.
Yeah. I mean, if we don't get Mobius riding a jet ski in some after credit scene or some kind of resolution, then I don't want to live on this planet anymore, you know? So, I mean, cause
he's a really good character.
Yeah. You can't like tease that and then not like give it to us, you know? And then like, plus they pruned him and we're just obviously all in shock. We're like, wow, he's dead, you know? And then, but it's like,
dude, Tom Hiddleston's reaction, that was some amazing acting.
When
he really looked like his best friend died.
Mobius got pruned, yeah. We did. I mean, other than Sylvie, who else does he have? You know,
if you think about it, that was his first true friend that we've seen, at least.
Yeah. I mean, I think. Okay, so let's talk about Loki. So we don't know where Owen Wilson went. We don't know where what happened to B-15? She busts into the timekeeper chamber or whatever, throws them the sword, and then she started fighting the other dudes. And then
I think she got pruned as well.
See, I don't remember that. Maybe I looked down. I don't remember that. Like, I just remember her like she was there and she wasn't, and I don't remember her getting hit unless Ravonna did it before she started fighting Sylvie.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure she got pruned.
Look at that. Okay, I'll have to go back and look at that. So we don't know where they go. Like, do they go to that same place that Loki goes, or is that Loki's special, you know, purgatory or whatever? Okay, I'm gonna ask a stupid question.
Okay.
Am I just blind for not seeing the alligator Loki? Like, am I just blind? So
that was the first thing I noticed.
Bro,
I was like, is that a fucking alligator?
We finished the episode, okay, and we start doing. I knew there was an after credit scene. I heard there was. I didn't know what it was. I skipped ahead, watched the after credit scene, and my eye was focused on Richard E. Grant in the top right. Okay, because I knew he was in this, and I had a suspicion he was going to be like an older Loki variant, and he was. And that's not really a like revelation or anything. It was just it made sense, right? So I see the dude. It looked like the guy from Game of Thrones that had the really big like long axe thing in Dorne, and he had kind of like a Loki version of Mjolnir. And then I see this kid leaning down, and my eye line never got to the alligator. I saw something in my peripheral, but it looked to me like he was holding like a rifle or something, like because he was kneeling down, you know. And then Janina was like,
he's holding something much more powerful than a rifle.
And Janina was like, "Yo, was that an alligator?" Or she's like, "I can't believe there's a Loki alligator." And I'm like, "The fuck are you talking about?" And then we went back and rewound it, and I was like, "I'm an absolute idiot. Like, how did I not see the
superior Loki?"
Have you ever been to the Aquarium of the Americas in New Orleans?
Yeah.
So
Love it there.
Right when you get to the end, you've seen that like huge like white alligator they have, right? Mm-hmm. So me and my family are there several years ago. I don't remember if Cameron was even born yet. I think I can't remember, but my mom could not see the 14-foot white alligator. Okay, and I'm standing, dude. I don't know. I'm standing in front of the exhibit glass, and there's 3 feet of water, and then there's rocks or whatever, and there's this huge white alligator in the background, and my mom's like, I don't see it, and I'm like, I'm looking at her, I'm like, you're kidding, right? You don't see the 14-foot white alligator that is surrounded by green water and brown rocks, like you literally don't see it. She's like, and for 30 seconds, she's staring and moving her head and looking, and I'm like, are you kidding me right now? Are you kidding me? And she's like, is that big rock it? I'm like, Mom, that's the 14-foot white alligator. You thought that was a rock? Like, seriously? Like, it's 10 feet from you. It's just one of those things that when you get tunnel vision, you don't see things, and
it's bigger than it is further away.
Yeah, exactly. Right. And it was just kind of funny because I totally didn't see the alligator in the kid's hand.
Dude, they've had that alligator for a long time. I remember seeing that when I was a teenager.
Yep, I remember too. I've been there a couple times, and I was like, I think that's the same one. But yeah, it was interesting. I don't know what this place is. I can only assume that maybe like President Loki has taken over that world, and that's where he's going to kind of come in. I don't know. What are your thoughts on that?
I think President Loki is our Loki.
Oh, well, he died.
Like the Loki we've been watching.
Well, we see
this Loki.
Well, we see the variant version talking to him in the trailer, unless that's a different variant too, which I guess it could be. There's no telling when it comes to, like, maybe it's the same Loki, just 7 years apart or whatever because of the Tim pad thing. I mean, we don't know.
I wonder if. So I'm trying to remember when Odin died or left the plane.
The very beginning of
existence,
very beginning of Ragnarok. Yep.
Where did he go?
Well, I mean, they didn't really show it. I assume that where is it that they go? Valhalla, right?
Yeah.
So
like maybe this is Valhalla, and it's where all of the Asgardians go when they die.
I don't know. Valhalla is supposed to be supposed to be like a heavenly, like peaceful resting place. This to me, are you familiar with like Battle World in the comics? Mm-hmm. That's kind of what I think this is.
That would be cool.
Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, 2 episodes left. I mean, they've got a lot to tie up, man.
Yeah.
Plus, I could see
finally.
This is the one show that I could see, and I swear I can't believe you can't hear this. This is so loud behind me. I'm sorry.
I heard it for a little bit just now.
Crap. This is the one MCU show that I could see them just making, several seasons of, because it's disconnected from the main MCU because of the timeline thing. He could just, I mean, this could be their Doctor Who. I mean, it basically is. Like, this show is Doctor Who,
Yeah. Yeah, and like when Loki dies, you just bring in a variant Loki and continue on. Like, it's perfect.
Yeah, for sure. I really we didn't get a chance to talk about it because we played some Sea of Thieves last weekend. And I had a horrible time of it with the live stream because I don't know how computers work, apparently. We'll get back to it, but we'll talk about Sea of Thieves here in a little bit. But we haven't talked about the 3rd episode. I did not like the 3rd episode at all.
It was by far the worst.
It's one of those episodes you had to kind of just get through, A lot was talked about in that episode, but nothing really happened. We did get the big reveal that all the TVA agents are variants, but we also didn't know if that was just Sylvie just lying to him, So
right.
This episode being number 4 was, to me, like, easily the best episode. It's so poetic, I guess. that Loki, who's absolutely a narcissist, would fall in love with another version of himself. Like, it's so good, dude.
So
I mean,
weird.
it's like, of course he does, you know?
Right.
I don't know if they're going to be able to, like, I don't know if Disney would allow that type of relationship to actually like go anywhere, because it is kind of, it's kind of weird. Like,
it's like what even is that?
Yeah.
I don't know how you define that even, but it's weird. It's fucked up.
like, you know how there's a word for like there's a word for killing a king. It's what is it, regicide or patricide or whatever, you know? And there's a word for everything, right? I don't know if there's a word for falling in love with another version of yourself. Like, that's a little crazy. So I don't know. We'll see how it goes. I really did not think I was going to like the Sylvie character. Plus, I know she only delivered one line in that second episode, but did you hear, maybe it's just me, but did you hear any hint of an accent in that line that she delivered? And then the third episode, she's speaking with an accent, and I was like, what? Like, I didn't.
Yeah, it's kind of weird.
Yeah, like, it just, she didn't say enough for it to come across, I guess, in that second episode.
I really didn't start to care for her until the fourth episode.
Yeah, same. I thought she was just using him in the third episode to basically just try to get off the planet, and she, I mean, kind of was. But in this one, it's like she's just a little girl that was taken from her world, you know? So I don't know. As a parent, that kind of stuff makes you, like, you know, kind of look at things differently, you know?
It was a little gut wrenching towards the end of the episode when she asked, like, why was I a variant?
Right.
What did I do wrong?
Speaking of which, did you know that girl is the same girl that played, like, the young Rey in Force Awakens when she gets taken away from her family? Like, that's her like,
That's her whole
typecasting
thing now.
Yeah,
She's typecast. Yeah. I thought she looked kind of familiar.
yeah.
But overall, it's a good
had to look it
episode.
up.
I just can't believe they waited, till the fourth episode of 6 to reveal the superior Loki finally.
The superior Loki.
Alligator Loki.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Well, again, I didn't even see it. So
I really hope that.
Now, is that a thing?
He does ridiculous stuff.
I know there's a, what is it, Frog Thor, right? Is that Fror, right? Is there an alligator Loki? Or am I just like,
I have no idea.
I think there is. I think that's like canonical, if that's the right word.
There is now. And that's all
that's true. Yeah, that's all that matters. I'm curious what this world is going to be. If it's going to be like a, you know, like version, like MCU version of like Thunderdome or something, or if it's just some desolate place they all go to, you know, just some kind of purgatory. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't imagine it being some other Loki that is responsible for all this. Like, there's too much technology involved.
Yeah, he would just use magic.
Yeah, it's beyond what.
That's why I think
that Asgardians would do. That's
why I think Kang, like, it almost needs to be Kang, but in a way I don't want it to be, because it's like, it's a little on the nose, but at the same time, like, Kang is a great villain, and, you know, God, for what, almost 2 phases, the MCU villains sucked. You know, they were all like little one-offs, you know, Ironmonger and the fake Mandarin and Malekith. Good God, you know? So, like, they really nailed it with Thanos. I know you have some thoughts on that, and that's all good. But the MCU version of Thanos was a great villain, you know?
He was great.
Yeah, and then they started to really make you feel for the villains. Thanos, you absolutely fell for. I did anyway. Killmonger, same thing, you know? So I think that their next evolution is, like, Kang is a perfect character to be the next big bad in the MCU, because he can be anywhere, any win. You know,
I would love. So with Thanos, I would love for them to do a prequel, like series or movie or something with him where it gives a little bit more of his backstory.
So
and why he is the way he is.
There's a chance that may happen in the Eternals movie. I'm
down with that.
That's kind of the rumor. So, because remember, the Eternals are just basically there to fight the Deviants, and Thanos is an Eternal that possesses the deviant gene. So that's why he looks the way he does. So, yeah, that's why he looks like Grimace. It's like Star-Lord would say.
Pretty much. Yeah, there's a comic series, I think it was called Thanos Rising, and it's a short series. It's like maybe a dozen issues, but it is so dang good. And it explains his relationship with like Lady Death and stuff, which I'm kind of sad they didn't do in the movies.
Yeah, I don't think he needed I don't think he really needed a love interest though with this version of him. Like he had enough motivation. Like we understood what he wanted, you know.
Well, like they alluded to her in one of the movies. I think in one of the post-credit scenes, they were like, you know, to challenge the Avengers
them
is to court death itself.
Yeah,
or whatever.
I think that's in the cold open to the Avengers movie. I think
might be.
Yeah,
it's
maybe.
pretty early on.
Yeah.
But like they did that, and I was like, oh shit.
Yeah. So, any final thoughts on Loki before we move on?
I can't wait to see what happens next. Hopefully they can keep up the same feel that episode 4 did, because it was so good. I hope that it doesn't move backwards to what like episode 3 was. Just episode 3 was, I could have done without it.
I don't think that's even possible, just because like they don't have time to mess around anymore. Like the next 2 episodes are going to have to be crazy. In fact, like the 5th one is probably going to have like a huge thing happen, and the last one is going to be them wrapping that up, you know? So
yeah. One other thing I wanted to say too
Falcon and Winter Soldier
did. How did you feel about the fight choreography when they went into the room at the end? Wasn't that great? I
thought Sylvie was a lot better. Tom Hiddleston is normally pretty good, but like he's actually really good in Kong Skull Island. Like he kind of really impressed me with his physicality there, because you see him next to Chris Hemsworth all the time, and it's like, you know, sorry, bro.
Right.
But you know, when he holds it, he can hold his own, you know, by himself. But yeah, I felt like it was a little too like. It felt like the fight was fake. You know, in a TV show that's only 6 episodes, where people are literally like using magic and exist outside of time, I don't know that the fight choreography matters as much. Like if that had happened on Falcon and Winter Soldier, I'd have been like, this is garbage. But it's a different show, you know?
Yeah, it was a little lacking. But outside of that, nothing to complain about.
Yeah, at that point we're nitpicking, you know. If that's the worst thing we can say about that episode, then really it ended.
That was the worst part, is it ended.
Right. Yeah. Do you think that we've seen the last of Mobius?
Hell no.
Yeah, I hope not. In my opinion, he's carried the show so far. Loki's great. I'm starting to come around to Sylvie. I don't really like any of the TVA people, but I think that's by design. You're not supposed to. Other than Mobius. Mobius is carrying the show, I think.
So Mobius, he would not work if he was not Owen Wilson.
Yeah, I mean, this is funny you say that.
You can't tell me another actor that would work in that role.
It's funny you said that, because like I looked at some, like a few weeks ago, there was just an article online about actors that auditioned for the MCU and like didn't get the role. And originally Iron Man was going to be, or Tony Stark was going to be Tom Cruise, you know, that kind of just stuff like that.
The MCU would have ended.
Right. And I was thinking about it, and I was like, if there's one person that I could like see them not changing, it would be Mobius. Cause he's just like, he's basically, it feels like, Jeff Goldblum in Ragnarok. He's playing the Grand Master, but he plays it. He's basically a caricature of himself. Like he's a meme of himself in that, like in that movie, you know. And Owen Wilson, Mobius is basically Owen Wilson. Like he's playing a meta version of himself, but not like on purpose. Like it just is that character. I don't know. I couldn't see him as anyone else.
Yeah, when I see casting that is that well done, I often like wonder if that was the original intent of the character, or if they like just cast him and like he showed up for the audition and like was someone completely different, and they were like, this is it, like this is the better version of what we intended.
Well, and we talked about that. What was that? Josh Lawson in Mortal Kombat. Like there's no way they wrote Kano like that. Like he just showed up on set one day and just started like just going, and the director was like, okay, keep rolling. You know.
Yeah,
so
this is the movie.
Could be shit, could be frisbee hat. You know, so you know, it's just like, God, that movie. Yeah, I think Owen Wilson owned that role. I hope we haven't seen the last of him. I don't even need to hear, like I don't need to see him like in the purgatory or whatever. Like I just want to see the after credit scene in the last episode, just him just riding a jet ski. That's all I need. You know?
Yeah. So something else that they did confirm in this episode is that vampires are real within the MCU.
Yeah. So at first I was like, wow, they're really going for Morbius. And then I was like, oh wait, they've already confirmed Blade. So that's probably what they're doing. Because there's still some debate as to whether or not the Morbius movie exists inside the MCU. So yeah, they actually mentioned Titans. They actually mentioned Titans too. What did they say? Kree, Titans, and vampires. So
yeah, and they were saying like vampires are like in that same grouping of danger, which I thought was interesting.
Yeah. So I imagine that's just a little, subtle hint towards the future of Blade, and we'll see how that goes.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, so let's talk about Sea of Thieves. You want me to go first, or you want to go first?
Yeah, let's start with you, because you're new to the game. So tell us your kind of first experience, especially starting off with where you did with the story. I had a lot of fun playing the game. I was really mad because I kept struggling with the stream, and I just didn't have it set up right, and I was more concerned about playing rather than allowing the two people that were watching to be able to hear me. So, I think it was 5 at one point. But yeah, I had a blast, dude. I mean, we jumped right into that Pirates of the Caribbean tall tale thing, which, I mean, yes, please, more of that. What's interesting is the only game that I'm playing right now, like consistently, is Star Citizen. And the games could not be more different from a, design perspective. One's a space sim and one is a pirate game. They're not remotely similar. Right.
But when you really think about it, they actually are very similar. You start out, you get into a server, you've got limited number of people there, and you go and you do a 1 or 2 hour gameplay loop, and then you log. And then you log back in the next day and you do something else. It's not your traditional, like both the games are like that. They're not your traditional, go here and collect some raptor claws and come back and I'll give you 10 gold and then go here. It's not that theme park based MMO that everybody's used to. It's really more of
it's a journey.
Yeah. I mean, it's it's, I was like, how do I put stuff on? My character has nothing. And, I was a complete noob, but I had a lot of fun playing that game. The quest that we went on was really cool. It took us a little bit. It wasn't super difficult, but it wasn't easy either. It was kind of a, we had to look up we had to cheat a little bit on a couple of those things. Yeah, it was fun.
We did a lot of optional stuff too.
Yeah. I'm still getting used to the controls a little bit. I never have liked the radial interface, but I understand if consoles are going to be able to cross-play, it would be unfair to have the consoles do a radial menu and then have, real gamers. Like, just a little subtle dig at Jeff there, but it wouldn't be fair to have, you know, to be able to hit I and just click on a thing in your inventory. Whereas, you know, so I get why they do it that way. I don't love it, but at the same time, it's like, I've dealt with that enough before. I'm not like worried about it, you know? I thought it was super cool when they the Dutchman just kind of showed up and like boarded our boat, and we had to like protect Jack Sparrow with the cannonballs and stuff. And that was definitely fun. It was a challenging little event there that we did.
Yeah, I'm excited for you to play some more with us and get into some PvP bouts. Because if you imagine that battle where like the Dutchman is just kind of staying alongside of us and we're not having to steer the boat, like we're just manning cannons. Right. And PvP, like, you know, ships are trying to ram you and steer around you, so they're out of line of sight, and it's really hard to be managing the sails, steering, repairing, and shooting cannons, watching for people trying to board your ship. A Kraken might show up in the middle of the fight. It gets really intense.
You know, in our case, a school of mermaids may just attack us right off of the dock, which was the most terrifying thing I've ever experienced in my life, other than when I saw a 13-foot hammerhead in Grand Cayman, 90 feet down. That was pretty terrifying. But it was weird, man. Like, when we just jumped out of the boat to try to get a new one, we were 5 feet from the dock, and all of a sudden these mermaids appear, and they were just like,
dude, and they were pissed.
I don't know what the hell we did. I don't know. You said that's like a new thing, right? Like, you've never seen that before.
Yeah, I've never seen that before. The only mermaid said
this game is not new. It's been out for years, right? Yeah. So I'm wondering, that must be a Pirates of the Caribbean like thing, right? Because that game just came out.
I looked it up afterwards. So it's part of the new Pirates Life season thing that they've added. So the game is really interesting. It gets updated a lot, and they've switched to a season format. So they'll do like a season, and that season will add new things, and it will change like reward structures to try to like emphasize certain elements of the game. But it's really damn fun. The only thing I dislike about that game, and I think Star Citizen is sort of the same way, and I haven't played Star Citizen as much, so you'll have to tell me if I'm wrong, but it is a game that is hard to sit down and only play for an hour. Like, it's really a game.
That applies to most games, though. You know, like, Cameron will get home from school. I mean, he's in summer camp now, but like he'll get home from summer camp, and I've introduced him to like Marvel Ultimate Alliance, and we're on the second one now because he's at that age where he can actually help. Dude, he's a great tank. Like, he just in part one he picked Colossus, and I'm just like, okay, Cameron, do your thing, and he just destroys everything. And in the second one we have Hulk, and it's even worse. You know, I'm just like, all right, Cam, you know, smash. But even then, like, I'll be like, hey, we can't play but for more than like 45 minutes. And then 2 hours later, and I'm like, God damn it. I gotta make dinner now. Gotta get bath, you know. And it's just like, so yeah, I hear you. And that's kind of why I like those games that are more like a tight gameplay loop, you know, like Star Citizen. I'll log in and I'm like, okay, I want to do some cargo. Do that for 2 hours and I'm done that for the night. Or I want to do some mining, do that and I'm done. Or I want to go out and drive some, basically the equivalent of Jeeps on moons and just do some like physics stuff, you know. And and Sea of Thieves is that's how I would want to play that. We'd pick a thing and be like, okay, we're going to Skull Island or whatever, and we're doing that for 2 hours and then we're done. You know, you gotta set limits, you know, because I played WoW for, I think I had a 14-hour session one time, which is, I mean, that's not even crazy these days, you know? So.
Yeah, it's definitely a game I prefer to have like 3 or 4 hours set aside to be able to play.
Yeah, I could see 3. 3 would be good.
Yeah, like, it's something that I can't be like, it's 9 o'clock. I can play for a little bit, you know, because I'll stay up till after midnight.
Especially with the way that you have to like prepare your ship with the supplies and stuff. It takes you 30 minutes to get everybody in the lobby and get logged in and all that stuff, and then you gotta get your boat together and get all your supplies. By then, an hour's gone by and you've done nothing. So it's like, okay, now we have 2 more hours to actually do stuff, you know, So
Yeah.
yeah, I get it.
That's actually my least favorite part of that game is the having to stock your ship up when you log in.
Yeah.
I kind of wish
I guess that didn't bother me, but
like,
it's also like the first night I was playing, like after a month of that, I'd be like, all right, I'm over this shit, you know?
Yeah.
So we'll see.
But if you don't do it, you'll be heavily penalized as soon as you get into a fight and you run out of supplies. You're screwed.
It's just like Star Wars Galaxies, man. Like if you like, I know you didn't really play that very much, did you?
No.
If you like, everything in the game was community based. Like all the like buffs and all the like gear that you got was all made or sold by the players or whatever. So like, you know, before you went out and did your adventuring, you had to go to a cantina and you had to watch the dancers for like 10 minutes to get those buffs like all the way above like 2 hours and stuff, because like the longer you stayed, you know, the more time you'd get, that kind of stuff. And then you had to go to a doctor and get the doctor buffs, you know. Before you know it, you spend an hour running around getting ready, and then you're ready to go out. But if you don't do those things, you will get owned, just period, you know?
Right.
So
yeah, and it's I really wish they would introduce a mechanic into the game where you already have like vendors on each of the outposts that you can buy like cosmetic skins from and stuff. I really wish the ship outfitter, you could just spend in-game gold to stock your ship.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, it does get a little tedious.
It doesn't,
you know,
it doesn't give you an unfair advantage other than it saves you 30 minutes from running around the island picking up cannonballs and wood.
A lot of people do like that role play experience, though. You know, I get it.
It's true.
Everything moves so fast these days. Everybody wants to just get in and get out. I mean, I get it. I'm guilty of that too. But, you know, a lot of old school players really love that whole experience of. And again, I keep bringing up Star Citizen, but like, there are some people that won't run in the game. They walk everywhere because they're just like looking around at these beautiful like space vistas and stuff and these moons and stuff. And they're like, right. I don't want to miss any of this, you know? And I'm like, come on, let's go. I'm like jumping up and down. I'm like, let's go, come on, you know? Cause I've been there, done that, you know? So I get it. It wasn't that big a deal to me. If we can, like, is that Pirates of the Caribbean thing? Is that Tall Tale like it for that story? Like,
no, there's a whole storyline
for the Pirates of the Caribbean thing. I mean,
yeah, okay. Yeah, that was mission 1.
Okay, I was like, okay, is this? I assumed that was the case, that there was some long quest chain, and
yeah, now we have to go rescue Jack.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense, because that took me back to the ride. Like, I mean, you know me, I'm Disney. I mean, Janina and Cameron and I, all of us are Disney freaks. I mean, we have our annual pass ends on July 4th, and we're just devastated because they're not renewing them right now. But it is what it is. And I mean, I got some serious Goonies vibes in that cave. I know you did too, with the little slide thing. And I remember Jeff when he jumped. I think it was Jeff when he jumped out of the slide. He went, "Oh shit!" like in Goonies. Yeah. And I thought he was just saying that, because remember he went ahead of us, and I thought he was just saying that because he saw something, and then he was actually imitating it, because I was like, "Oh, we're on the Goonies slide. That was cool." I liked the digging for treasure thing. Like, I'm all about that. Like, you never played Ultima Online, did you? Old school,
a little bit, a very long time ago.
Yeah. So one of my favorite characters to play was my well, he had a myriad of things that he did, but one of his main things was cartography and treasure hunting, right? Mm-hmm. And I was always one of the I was one of the best treasure hunters on the server. You know, I was doing some of the hardest ones, and you see a screenshot, you know, of this place, and this isn't like WoW, where it literally, it's not like WoW, where it really puts an arrow on the map telling you where to go. Like, it's an X on the map that's drawn, but you can't see yourself, just like in Sea of Thieves. We were like, where the hell is this treasure, right?
Right. You don't have a GPS. You have a fucking
this
map.
was 1998, so like I was dealing with dial-up internet. Like, you couldn't just Google, you know, where the treasure was, because it changed, right? It was random. Mm-hmm. And you'd have to go out there, find it, be really close to it, dig it, and then okay, a random lich appears. Oh, I'm in the right spot. Now some ogres are spawning. Oh shit, now some, you know, other stuff is spawning. And it gets to the point where you had to have a huge party or you were screwed. And that took me back to those times. I really enjoyed that mission that we did.
Yeah, it's a fantastic game. I think that you will enjoy it more and more as you get into it and experience some of the other things, because you really are just scratching the surface of the game. One of the other things I wish they would add into that game is I really do want the ability to create your own fortress somewhere on the map.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Like have your own pirate island that you could maybe like spend in-game currency to hire like NPCs to defend your island while you're not online and stuff. Could be pretty cool. And then you don't necessarily have to worry about the stocking things up. As long as you keep your island supplied, then you've got supplies every time you spawn in.
Yeah, they had a little bit of that in Warlords of Draenor, one of the WoW expansions, where you had your own little stronghold, I think is what they were called. And it was very similar to what Jeff was talking about with Conan, where like they attack your base and stuff, and it's like a tiered event, you know. It was very similar to that. Yeah, that would be cool. I would love, like that was one of the reasons I love Star Wars Galaxy so much, is because like players could build their own cities. Like you could have like actual cities that showed up on the map that had shuttle ports, they had hospitals, they had repair bays and stuff. They had all these places that
homesteads.
Yeah, exactly. And Star
stuff.
Citizen is working on homesteads too, and I cannot wait for that, dude. Like I cannot wait for that.
One of the things that, so I also really love the development team in Sea of Thieves. I follow all their social media pages, but it's a really good group of people. And I've watched a lot of YouTube videos, like interviewing them about like developer diary type stuff. But one of the cool things they did recently is they actually had an employee that passed away. I want to say it's about a year ago. And when he passed away, to honor him, they actually left little clues throughout the map on different islands where you can find the diaries of Glitterbeard, which was his call sign in the game. But you can actually, it's kind of neat, just a little thing they did for their coworker. But if you're ever exploring Sea of Thieves and find a book about Glitterbeard, that's about their employee that passed away not too long ago. There's also some cool hidden things with Battletoads. Like there's a random island you go to and the island is covered in snakes, but there's actually like 3 toads graffiti painted like on the side of a cliff face there that's hidden, and a lot of like weird call outs to the Battletoads, which I thought was neat.
Interesting. Yeah. Yeah, I love it when they do special stuff like that. Like there's a Star Wars Galaxies server that's still out there, SWG Legends. It's like a private server, and they had like a statue like tribute to Carrie Fisher and stuff, and they had tons of people there just kind of checking it out for the event. It was cool. I love it when games get like social like that.
WoW has one for Robin Williams. Doesn't it?
I haven't played WoW in years, so I don't know, but. Yeah, I could see them doing that.
Because I think he was a big player of the game too. So outside of Sea of Thieves, some other video game news for me is my I guess before we move on, did you have anything you wanted to add to Sea of Thieves?
No, I mean, I had a great time. Can't wait to play it again. Maybe maybe we can do it again soon. We don't get a lot of time. We either get a gaming session or we get a podcast episode a week. So
yeah.
But yeah, we'll find some time to do it.
We're old adults with responsibilities that suck sometimes, but it is what it is. So the other gaming news, my Mandalorian pinball machine is delayed.
It's late?
Yeah. I was supposed to get it end of June, but manufacturing is delayed. So I don't know when I will get it now. So
damn, that sucks, dude.
Yeah, apparently Stern is having problems getting some of the electronic components, which is hitting many industries right now. I know Ford had to shut down some of their manufacturing lines because they didn't have the parts they needed for the computers that go into the F-150s. So it's an interesting time we live in where like there's so many different things that need computer chips now that things you would not even think being impacted by chip shortages are impacted by chip shortages.
Yeah. I know that, like, Samsung's been affected by, like, they can't make their, like, smart refrigerators and stuff. It's like now you know it's really bad, you know. Yeah. It's interesting.
Yeah, we really it's I don't know. I don't know. I don't think there's a lot of chip manufacturing done within the States. I think it's something that we need.
Yeah.
As an alternative. The problem is it'll never be cheaper than what manufacturers get from overseas is the problem. I'm going to speak for Jeff a little bit because I hung out with him a little bit yesterday. He got out of the NFT game.
Yeah,
he decided he's done.
Yeah, did he end up like coming out pretty far ahead? I heard. I mean, because he made a lot on his first one, right?
He made good money on it. I won't say any of the numbers. I'll let him talk through that. But he said recently he bought a card pack. I can't remember how much he said he paid for it, but all of the cards in it were selling really cheap. And he said that the whatever the company is that makes the NFT cards like started giving out free card packs a couple weeks ago to try to get like more people into the game. But he said that now that they've introduced all of these people into it and it's got more people in it, the cards he was selling for like $60 or $70 are getting sold for $5 now. Because there's so many people in there and they're all like the vast majority of people buying them are buying them to resell them. They're not buying them to collect them. So the prices on everything have just plummeted.
Yeah, just like anything else, you have to kind of get in at the right time and then get out at the right time. You know, you got to, like with the GameStop, you know, stock thing that happened, you know, several months ago. Yeah. If you were aware of that, if you just happened to be on Reddit in that thread that day or whatever it was, while they were planning it, and you got in on it, you were fine. If you weren't, you weren't. You know what I mean? It's yeah. So sometimes people get lucky.
Yeah, I feel like that's kind of what happens with Bitcoin when it goes through its surges too.
Oh, yeah.
I feel like a lot of times like it'll start doing really well, and then when it starts doing really well, everyone's like, "Oh, I want in."
I really wish I had like stuck it out and just kept mining, just like, and didn't even care about the $30 or $40 power bill. You know, just kept doing it. I mean, dude, like I would have so much. I have so much more. You know, I mean, it is what it is. Here's the thing. Think about like when I came out ahead. I made 3 times as much as I invested into it with the hardware. I can't really complain about that. You know, I could have lost everything.
Yeah, for sure. But I also think back to that when we were both mining, and even if we had stopped back then and we kept the amount that we had at the time, if we held it for the 2 years or whatever it's been since we wouldn't
even have to keep mining necessarily if we just held on to some of it. I did hold on to some of the Ethereum, a very small amount, but it was enough to where it was a surprise. I just logged in one day and looked at my portfolio and I was like, oh wow. So, you know, it was cool, but it's also like, damn, I should have kept doing it, you know? But again, it's like, who's to say that, you know, I would have even gone for the right coins and stuff, and like it was fun to do. It was definitely a fun little hobby, but it's one of those things that you have to like babysit it so much, make sure the miner doesn't crash, make sure you're getting the right numbers and all that stuff. And it was just like, after you did all that, then it was boring because you're literally just waiting and waiting and waiting. And I was like, man, like I at least want something like, I don't know.
Yeah, and there was a stock element to it too. Like, not only are you dealing with all the tech hurdles, you're also having to watch the marketplace to like, is what I'm mining even worth mining, or should I switch to something else, or should I keep mining what I'm mining but trade it for something else that's that's worth less now, but will be worth more later. Like Dogecoin, like when we were mining, that thing was like infinitesimally small. It doesn't even make sense that it grew, period. I don't know. The whole crypto thing, I still don't. It's funny because as much as like I knew enough to mine coins, but I still really fundamentally don't understand crypto.
Yeah, it's funny because
the appeal of crypto.
We were talking about that very thing at work today, where it was like, when you're on the outside and you don't know, like you don't understand crypto, people like it's black magic, and then you do it a little bit and you're like, okay, I'm starting to see this, you know, like it makes sense. Like I can do point A to point B, all that stuff. Like I get it, but do you really? Like, you know, I think I have an idea of how the blockchain works, but all I know is my cards ran math and money showed in my account. Like it's like, you know, how that actually happens, like the exact process is still a little alien to me. Like, what are these transactions doing? Like, are people actually using these coins in the real world for something, or is this all just made up and somehow making money? Like I still don't know if it's like real or if I'm living in like a simulation or something, because it's still, you're right, it still doesn't make any sense, like how it even you know what I mean?
Yeah, because like my understanding is like basically when you make a financial transaction with a coin, the computers that are hashing are basically calculating, like they're doing the verification process. Right. Like, but that's what mining is, right?
How in the world is a coin that's brand new, like already got that much stuff? Like some person is actually buying something with, you know, a coin that just came out like 2 days ago. Like it doesn't make sense. You know what I mean? Like, where are these vendors that are taking this coin? You know?
Yeah.
It's weird.
Well, that's the thing is many of those coins, there's not vendors.
So what are we processing? What are we verifying on the blockchain? It's
the exchanges of, I guess, you trade in Zcash for Dogecoin.
That's what it was. It was kind of like
that transaction.
It was like in a way, it was like the biggest game of all time, because literally money is just moving around from one point to another. No goods are actually changing hands, and the GPUs are just like, oh, there's one, math, you know, and it's like, okay, what did we really do here?
Yeah, and like fundamentally, there's nothing backing any of it, in my opinion. Like Bitcoin, even, like they say it's backed. I don't think Bitcoin is backed.
No. There's only so many of them, so that's what makes it valuable. Is it's finite, and people are willing to trade it for X amount. I mean, that's all.
But $80,000 a coin.
I know, that's nuts,
so
dude.
Stupid.
The most it was when we were mining, I think, was like what, 25, maybe. I helped a couple people get started when I was doing it. I mean, I helped you get started. I mean, you did most of it, but I just kind of helped you along the way, and it was fun. It was fun. I don't know that, like, I mean, I saw videos on YouTube of people that had like warehouses just full of 1080 Ti's, and at the time those cards were the best, you know. And they had spent like, I think they spent $200,000 on GPUs and had made
they were like
they made $1 million in like the first like 6 months or something, and then every month after that they'd got it to the point where they were making like $500,000 a month, and it was like, Jesus Christ. I mean, that's nuts.
Anyways, that's a whole thing, and it's one of those things that I guess it's kind of like the stock market in a sense. Like, you really have to risk investing a lot of time and money to get into it and hope it works out for the best. But I think I might start dabbling in stocks more than what I do now.
That's something else I've never understood, and I always wanted to, but I mean, I've never, like, it just, if you don't have someone that can advise you on it, you know, I'm not gonna risk something that I don't know enough about, you know. But yeah, it's nice to be able to diversify and have different income streams and stuff, you know. and not necessarily you just have to rely on your job. You want to be able to have some type of passive income, and that's kind of what, I mean, eventually I think that's where we want to be with Fanout, and we want to be able to, make this our livelihood, at some point. Obviously it's going to take a lot of time. It's going to take a lot of, dedication on our part, but we're here for it,
Yeah. If you want to help us work full time, you should send us a donation somewhere.
Yeah. We're probably going to, eventually we'll set up a Patreon and all that stuff. We're still trying to work out our technical stuff. We've got a couple of different ways that we are filming the podcast, and we're trying to come out with the best method. So yeah, we'll see how that goes.
And getting upgraded equipment along the way too. My friend Danny was nice enough to let me borrow a camera for a few episodes, and I've gone back to my old webcam, but I need to get a nice camera again. I'm not really happy with this one. Love my mic now though.
Jeff, we missed you this week. Hopefully we'll be able to hopefully we'll be able to get up with you next week. We'll try to find some time to play some Sea of Thieves again. I think I have worked out the issue with the live streaming. So we'll see how that goes. And, like and subscribe. We are trying to at least do one video a week. Right now, we're all kind of busy. We do want to start getting back into the, not necessarily the live reaction type thing, but we do want to get more into some discussions about TV shows and movies, kind of like we're doing with Loki on here. But we want to have dedicated, episodes for specific shows, like an after show kind of a thing.
Yeah.
So, we'll probably start
stuff in shorter format too.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the podcasts are fun, but they do tend to run a little long. We want to start doing some 15-minute or less, videos and stuff. And when I know the theaters are opening again, once we actually can start to go to the theaters, we'll probably do some straight out of the theater reactions just on our phone or something, just quick 2-minute things, and then look forward to some spoiler reviews later on and stuff. So, yeah, we'll see how it goes. Brian, anything else?
No, I don't think so. I guess the only thing I could say, if you're watching this, let us know in the comments if there's anything you want to see more of, or something we're not doing that you want us to do.
Yeah, we definitely want to get some.
We'll see if it's something we can work in.
Yeah, we definitely want to get some audience participation and stuff with comments and things like that. Because we want to make content that you guys want to watch. So we appreciate you hanging with us for this one. It's been episode 7, I think, right? I believe so.
Yes.
Yeah, episode 7 of our podcast. So like and subscribe, and as always, fan out.
Fan out, guys.
See you guys.
And gals.